Hello Australia, welcome to another Big Couch. Coming up on the show today, we've got Consumer Watch. We're talking to Trish Blake. She's the Director of Retail and Services about the Australian consumer law. So stay with us. Lots of information with that one. What's on Perth with Belinda Cipriano. She's got lots of events that are coming up and charity events as well. Now, 65 Roses for Cystic Fibrosis is coming up very soon. We'll talk to one of their very special people. Her name is Cass Boyd, actually. She's the president. We'll talk to her. Talking natural health with our very own pharmacist and naturopath, Hilary Lane. She's here talking to Nisha. And later on, remember Amy Jacobson? Well, she's going to talk about emotional intelligence, but she's got a brand new book. We'll talk to her. And guess what? If that wasn't enough, you've got the Bitchin' News segment as well. We've got Ted Bull coming in, Chris Ilsley from 6IX, and Jen Merrigan from Have a Go News. Big Couch, stick around. The show starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. Oh.
Hello Australia, welcome to a very big couch today. It is in fact, let me tell you, because it's pretty exciting, episode 698. Can you believe in 2 episodes will be episode 700 and nearly 20 years of the couch. So thanks for your company. Hope you're doing well all around Australia. No music acts today because the show is chock-a-block with information and guests. So let me get straight into it. Let me introduce the lady on the couch first. Her name is Trish Blake. Now, she's part of the Department of Consumer Protection here in WA. Trish, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
And we do want to talk to you about the Australian consumer law. Now, a few years ago, the Australian consumer law sort of worked with our West Australian one. And tell us a little bit of a background with that.
Yeah, so before 2011, every state had their own version of the Australian consumer law. So we had the Trade Practices Act and we had the Fair Trading Act here in WA. Yep. Then it was decided, because a lot of traders work across Australia, so you can imagine if a trader was selling products in each different state, they would have each different state they had to know different about laws. And comply with. And also consumers are a lot more mobile now, so it was considered better if we had one national law. And so that's what we have today, our Australian consumer law.
Now, I've had to use it myself, and there's a lot of little things that people aren't aware of. Now, who administers the Australian consumer law? Is it still administered by the state as well as the Commonwealth, or is it purely the Commonwealth?
It's both. So the Commonwealth administers the Australian consumer law at the Commonwealth level, and every state also has the Australian consumer law. So every state has adopted the Australian consumer law as state law as well. And so what that means for us, say in Western Australia, is that our law picks up people who might be sole traders or partnerships, whereas the Commonwealth law can only apply to corporations.
And do they work together in a very good partnership?
Absolutely. So the laws are mirrored from Commonwealth to state, but states have different ways of how they mirror those laws. But what we do is we have committees between our Commonwealth colleagues and every state, and we get together regularly so that we know what everybody's doing. But as I said, you've got some traders that operate nationally. So we've had some traders recently, say some furniture removalists that were operating out of Queensland, Victoria, Western Australia, that weren't really complying with the law. So our officers all work together to take action.
So for those people watching us at home, what's the benefit of having an Australian consumer law?
Yeah. So the benefit is that no matter where you go shopping in Australia, you know what your rights are, and as a consumer and a trader, no matter where you sell or trade in Australia, you know what your responsibilities are.
Now, when we talk about rights as well, I know being a consumer, you buy products and sometimes you go back to those retailers, and one of them is where they say no refunds, we won't take any returns, and that's now been proven under the consumer law not to be quite right, is it?
Absolutely. So a shop cannot say no refunds whatsoever, because there are certain guarantees under the consumer law, which means that they have to offer you a refund in those circumstances.
There's a lot of benefits, can I say as well, because being on 6PR radio, we get a lot of talkback. And there's people that are, I'll give you an example. A person bought a dishwasher from one of the retailers. The dishwasher lasted 5 years, but the warranty expired, the brand warranty. Basically, people don't know that there's also the consumer law, the Australian consumer law, expects that a product that you pay good money for should last longer than that. Explain that part of the consumer law to us.
So what you're talking about there is the interplay between the manufacturer's warranty. So often when you buy something, the shop will say to you, this comes with a 12-month warranty or a 2-year warranty. So that's your manufacturer warranty. But under the Australian consumer law, you have things we call consumer guarantees. And those are things like that it will be fit for purpose. So it will do what you want it to do and the reason you've bought it for and how they've described it. There's guarantees that it will be without defect, so that it will work for a reasonable period of time.
Expectations, isn't there?
Absolutely. And so the consumer law, in terms of a product that might break down after the warranty runs out, if you've paid very good money for something, then a reasonable consumer would expect that product to last for longer than the 12 months, say.
Exactly. So in that case of the dishwasher, it was a $1,500 dishwasher, not a $300 one.
Yes.
So there was an expectation that would last longer than 5 years, maybe even 7 or 8 years. But the retailer, once they were confronted with the Australian consumer law, they changed their tune and said, we will fix the problem. So always, I would urge people to ask the question, if you get nowhere with the standard warranty and it's expired, don't just throw the item away. If you believe you paid good money, you may have a case under the Australian consumer law to get a warranty or replacement. Let's go through. I know that you get about 18,000 complaints?
Yes.
What do most of the complaints relate to?
Oh, they'll relate to a lot of different things. So obviously during COVID last year, a lot of the complaints were about refunds for travel or for bookings in hotels,
That's a big one.
weddings, venue bookings. So
is there a standard law with that? Because I know there's people out there that bought cruises in Greece and air flights in Greece and things like that, and basically they've been given extension vouchers where if they won't give them cash back. Is there a requirement under the law that they choose what they want or they get what they get?
Yeah, because COVID was something unusual and it was the government that put the laws in that meant that the trader couldn't provide the supply, the service.
Yep.
The normal consumer laws didn't really kick in and apply. But if, say, it wasn't COVID, but you booked a cruise and then the ship broke down and they couldn't give you a cruise, then because that would be a major fault, what we call a major fault, then you as the consumer are entitled to pick your remedy. So you could ask for a refund or you could ask for a deferment and a booking later on.
Fantastic. Now, talking about major failures, minor failures, run us through the basics of that. What's considered a major and what's considered a minor?
Okay, so a minor failure is something that can be fixed quite easily, minimal time required, minimal effort, and then the product will work or have the appearance as you would expect it to were in perfect condition. So something that is pretty insignificant. A major failure is something that is going to take longer to fix, would leave you without the product for quite some time in order for it to be repaired. If you had known that was a failure, it would have changed your mind about buying that product.
Is that what they call a lemon?
Yes.
See, I had a vehicle I bought worth $30,000. It used to turn itself off while I'm driving. Went on for about 4 months. They couldn't fix it. They eventually deemed it as a major fault and gave me a new car.
Yes.
So that would be an example of a major. It's not something like a tyre blowing out. It's if the car kept turning off, it's a danger. Obviously, the car would take a lot to fix it up.
Yes.
And it would be classed as a major fault.
It would indeed. But back in December, they clarified some understanding about the major faults particularly when it comes to cars, but with all products. So sometimes you'll get a car that might have a lot of little things. So the radio might go and then 2 weeks later the windscreen wipers stop working and then something else stops working. And all together,
put it together, it would be a major.
They become a major fault.
Is there any situations where there's exceptions where the law doesn't apply?
Sure. So the consumer law does not apply if you change your mind. So if you've booked, say, a holiday and you go, well, I don't want to go there anymore, or often, we go to a shop and we might buy some clothes, and a lot of shops will say, out of goodwill, they'll let you exchange it. But that's their goodwill. If you've just simply changed your mind, they don't have to give you a refund.
Okay, so that's something good to know,
Yes.
because there's an expectation people think you have a right to have things changed. Durability, how does that work?
Yeah, so that really goes back to how you were talking about with the dishwasher. So if you bought a $300 dishwasher, you might expect it to last 12 months, maybe 2 years. But if you pay a lot more for a product, then you expect it to last a lot longer. So again, a $2 watch, you go, oh, it lasted me a couple of weeks, okay. But if I've paid $200 to $300 for a watch, then I would expect it to last a long time.
And let's go to the final one, warranties. Now, we did touch on this.
Yes.
This is probably one that's probably one of the most important.
It
We
is.
buy things and we don't realise how long they're covered for.
Yeah, and what you'll often find too, particularly with electronics and white goods, is when you go to the shop, and with motor vehicles as well, the trader will try and sell you what's called an extended warranty. And given that the Australian consumer law does such a good job with covering you for that your product should work well, we would say to you, really think carefully about whether you even need that extended warranty.
Exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of them really aren't worth the paper they're written
I
on.
guess if the product's that good, you don't need an extended warranty. It should
Exactly.
last how long it should last.
Exactly. So we would say to you, if a trader's saying to you, buy this extended warranty, you should be asking them, what does that offer you that your rights under the Australian consumer law don't already cover?
Good advice.
Yes.
Trish, it's fantastic to have you here today, because it sort of gives us a little bit about the Australian consumer law. If people want more information, we've got a couple of websites. One is the state government one and one is the federal consumer law. Let's take a look on screen. Now, if you want more information, did you want to read those out for us, or would you like me to? There
You can read those out. There you go.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Rick.
much.
Thank you.
We've got two websites, folks. It is, of course, consumerlaw.gov.au. That's the Australian consumer law. The other one is our state government, which you can ring our consumer protection people. They will always be able to refer you to the Commonwealth legislation, and they're very, very helpful as well at times. You get a local voice, a local person. www.commerce.wa.gov.au. Trish Blake, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Shedding a little bit of a light over the Australian consumer law. It's pretty important.
My pleasure.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
Thank you.
And the biggest morning tea is coming up very soon. In fact, next week. Please support it. Check this out.
This May, people everywhere are getting ready for Australia's biggest morning tea. It could be a real team effort or something super simple.
We're doing this for Mum.
Host your morning tea your way. Every dollar you raise supports those impacted by cancer. Register today for your free host kit for Australia's biggest morning tea.
Australia's biggest morning tea, please support them. The Cancer Council does a great job and we all support the event. Fantastic event. Belinda Cipriano.
Hello, Fred.
Welcome back. Are you doing
Thank
your
you.
own Australian biggest morning tea?
I do like to support the biggest morning tea, actually. I
Great
wonder if
event.
we're going to be doing something at work. Normally, yeah, I definitely do
How
something.
good is it to be able to get together again and do these sort of things,
It
even
is
for
so
charity?
much fun. It is really good.
Yep.
We're coming back to the new normal, so that's very exciting.
Well, you have got a whole heap of events, so let's go straight into it. Tell me about the Rayburn Orchards.
Okay, so I like a good, cheap and cheerful day out.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. Saving the money, we all have to do that during tough times. So head on out to the hills, to
Yep.
Roleystone, to the Rayburn Orchards. Now, I don't know if you've ever visited, but it's beautiful.
I haven't been there for a while. I've probably been there and didn't realise it was called the Rayburn Orchards.
Yeah. This one is all over social media. At the moment, it is one of the most popular ones. It was, you didn't hear about it at all before, but now it's coming alive. And I think it is because it's so beautiful. And this time of the year is my favourite time of the year
We've got
to visit
amazing
them.
weather at the moment.
Oh,
haven't
we do. It's
sunny,
beautiful out
but a bit chilly.
Yeah.
Which is incredible for fruit.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Rayburn Orchards at the moment are growing persimmons, pears and apples.
Persimmons, eh?
Persimmons. Have you ever eaten
Do you know
a
what we
persimmon?
call them in Italian? Kaki.
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 Oh, my goodness.
Which means something else as well, but that's what we call them. Persimmons are just amazing. I like the soft ones. You've got the crunchy ones,
Yeah,
and the
and
soft
soft
ones.
ones.
Have you grown up with those?
Not persimmons, no, I haven't, no. So
Okay.
I don't even, I
There
don't
you go.
think I've
Those
even had
Italians
one.
out there going, "What's he talking about?" Kaki.
Yeah, I used to have a guy at work who used to eat a persimmon like he was eating
and they're
an
like
apple.
tomatoes, aren't
Yeah.
they?
he would eat one. It was quite funny. But anyway, so going to Rayburn Orchards,
Yep.
$5 for adults, free for kids. So it's a lovely day out. Pack
Beautiful.
a picnic, go out there, support the local growers because they need it more than anyone at
And
the
you can
moment.
buy all the great fruit as well, so cheap. So
Yeah,
please do
very
support
cheap.
them.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
This one here took my fancy, dining beneath the ocean. Now, at first I thought you were going to get me to jump into a tank and I get eaten, and that's what dining is.
Well, you can definitely do that at Aqua if you want, Fred.
Sounds exciting.
It does sound exciting, and it is on my bucket list of things to do in Perth this year. So they don't release too many dates, Aqua, but they've released 4 dates in May, 2 of which will be available by the time the show goes to air. So the 26th and 27th of May. It is $190.
Which isn't bad.
It's not too bad because you get a 3-course
Correct.
meal, all your drinks, and a behind-the-scenes tour of Aqua after hours, which I think is pretty impressive. So the food is cooked by their chef there, and I know they hold functions and weddings and stuff there, but this is a special
Aqua's
opportunity.
amazing.
It is beautiful.
And I think for the $190, you're getting an incredible seat
Yes.
where you can see some beautiful,
Under that tunnel with the sea life.
fish,
yeah.
the water, the
Swimming
noises.
above you, yeah.
I think it sounds fantastic, and that's at Aqua. It's
Yep.
called Dine Beneath the Sea. Please support it.
Yep.
The details are on the screen as well. The Winter Village.
So the Winter Village is coming to the ice cream factory. Have you had a... That's what I think about when I think about the ice cream factory. Have you ever been to the ice cream
have.
factory?
It's incredible.
Yeah, pop-up entertainment venue. So
I like pop-up stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
This one's been around for a little while though. I think it's going to stay permanent, but it changes throughout the year and the theme changes throughout the year. So it's turning into a beautiful winter village. So a beautiful winter wonderland. And
All different ice cream too.
okay. What's your favourite ice cream?
I like pistachio,
Oh, okay.
but I like any ice cream.
Me
Can I say
too.
that?
I'm a chocolate
If you're
girl.
out there, send me any ice cream. I'll eat the whole lot. You like chocolate, do you?
Yeah, I'm
Traditional.
boring. Yeah. But anyway, so this again, like the Rayburn Orchard, for kids is free entry, but you do have to pay for your
that's
activities.
fine.
Yeah, so there's an ice rink there. Do you enjoy the old ice rink?
I'm not really built for ice rink or skating. I used to skate with my own shoes on, and I used to go really fast. And they said you can't use your own damn shoes.
Oh,
and I
God.
said, well, I can't stand on those. My ankles
I
used
use
to kill.
the penguins. You know those
I know.
penguins? I use those.
Roller skating,
I'm
I give it a
terrible.
go, but ice skating, very cold,
yeah.
very hard. And if you fall, you look like a dill.
You certainly do, and I have done that many a time. But I am going to head out there.
Yep.
It's $10 if you
Yep.
want to have a skate on the rink for children,
Beautiful.
$26. They also have igloos to rent, so you can have dinner in the igloo, lunch in
great
the igloo.
idea.
It is so good. And they also do brunches on Saturday and Sunday, and you know how much I love a brunch.
You do
so I'll be
enjoy your
heading
lunch.
there
Yep.
for an espresso martini. The kids can enjoy a hot cocoa, which is just lovely.
Sounds fantastic. Now, the Variety Toy Bank
Rock pool luncheon.
What's
Yep.
that all about?
So that's being held, I think this is the 9th year it's being held. It's a very popular event. It's being held on June 11th at Rockpool. Now, tickets for this are $150 with part proceeds going to Variety.
Variety, great cause.
It includes a 2-course meal, welcome drink, and I believe delicious wines. And they're asking for people who attend that day to bring in an unwrapped toy to go.
how wonderful.
Yeah,
Like a toy
to go.
bag for the
yeah,
kids.
yeah, for children living in refuges. So
What a great event. I
It
love
is.
it. I used to love the Kmart Christmas
Yes.
appeal. So similar to that, you bring a toy wrapped up and ready to go. And I think that's a wonderful cause. Please
Yeah.
support that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And a
And-
live quiz night.
Yeah, so Keep the Flame Alive quiz night. Now, this goes to Children's Cancer Research, another really special cause to support. $25 a ticket, or buy yourself a table for 10 people, and it's $250. It's BYO drinks, BYO food. There are spot prizes, live
Lots of fun.
auctions, entertainment, $250 for a table of 10,
And it's for
25
charity.
each. It is. Every single cent of this event goes to charity.
That's
and
great,
that's
isn't it?
so
Because it's very,
important.
very rare that and usually they take out the admin
Yeah, it's part
fees.
proceeds
And
all the time, yeah. So this one is all
Did you
proceeds.
pick this last one
I
because you're a
certainly
favourite of the
did. Let me
Portuguese
tell you,
community?
yes. You always ask me about Portuguese chicken.
I love Portuguese
you
food.
do. So at the Portuguese Social Club of Perth are holding their Portugal Day, or Dia de Portugal.
You'll be there.
I will be emceeing in English, I will be.
You really?
So, yeah,
Do you speak Portuguese?
I do speak
good.
Portuguese, but I get a little bit nervous speaking Portuguese in public. But
all
Ruby Brophy is the president of the club, and she will be emceeing in Portuguese. So this will include a 3-course meal, entree, Portuguese chicken for main, and then your desserts. And I'm sure there will be a Portuguese custard tart in there somewhere.
Oh, they're
for
beautiful.
sure. Yeah. Entertainment, including a visitor from Sydney. So he's a well-known Portuguese artist, Tony Latino. $45 for members,
Cheap.
$50 for non-members.
And the Portuguese
Excellent day
Club
out.
does an amazing job.
It is. It's the Portuguese Social Club of Perth. Details for tickets, call Ruby, and
Do you know,
she'll help
your
you out.
segment has put on 10 kilos and we haven't even eaten anything. BelindaCipriano.com is your website.
That's
now, I
the one.
believe you're fixing it up. So if you've
Yes,
got a few
I am.
problems, that's the website.
A
Just
new
stay
one's
tuned.
coming
There you go.
your way, Fred.
Beautiful.
Thank you for
Belinda,
having me.
you are always an inspiration of events. And can I just say to people, if you want to send in some events to us,
Yes.
send them to us here at The Couch. Of course, our normal website address, it's on our website, thecouch.com.au, and I'll pass them on to Belinda and then she
Perfect.
can make up a list. Belinda, have a wonderful weekend.
You too, Fred. I
And
hope
I'll-
you get some rest.
I will. I hope so. And I'll catch you in a few weeks' time.
You will.
Belinda Cipriano on The Couch. Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking natural medicine with Hilary Lane. Stay tuned. You're watching The Couch. Welcome back to The Couch. Stay with us because very soon we'll be talking to someone from Cystic Fibrosis WA, about 65 Roses. Nisha will have a very special guest, but she's got one now on The Couch. Hilary Lane, pharmacist, naturopath. She's back. She's talking to Nisha. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fred. Welcome back, Hilary.
Thank you very much, Nish. Great to be here.
Now, today, what are we talking about?
We're talking about osteoporosis today because it is rampant with males and females. And a lot of people don't realise that even from the age of 20, your bones can start deteriorating.
I certainly didn't realise that. And so for those that are not aware about the definition, what is it? What does it look like? What are the signs
your
and symptoms?
bones are starting to deteriorate when you get osteopenia and they're getting a little bit thin. But when they get to osteoporosis, they're so thin that if you have a fall, you can break a bone very, very easily. And if you're elderly and you break your hip bone, for instance, you may never recover. It may mean terminal.
So given the consequences can be so serious at a number of different ages, what are some of the things people can look out for now?
Well, a lot of people don't realise that osteoporosis actually starts in your gut.
How interesting.
And you've got to digest your food very well, not be drinking with your meals, not to be having cool drinks. The soft drinks actually break down your bones very, very easily. And a glass of ordinary milk may actually be a little bit too acid for you when you're older.
Okay, that's really interesting because I think a common myth is, have a glass of milk every day. What type of milk?
We would prefer you to have A2 milk because the proteins in that are actually gentler on your tummy.
Okay.
So you've got to have the good gut bacteria in your tummy and your digestive system to actually break down your food.
Okay.
And then having cheese and
I'm very happy about that.
and you can have Parmesan or cheddar cheese, and you can have your yogurt if it's a good pot set yogurt.
Okay.
And if you're wanting supplements for your actual osteopenia or osteoporosis, please don't have limestone calcium. The calcium carbonate doesn't absorb very well. So you should never have calcium on its own either. You should always have magnesium with your calcium.
This is so important, Hilary, because I think a lot of us will go into a chemist and we might look at a whole shelves and shelves of different vitamins. What do you recommend for people before they go and maybe buy different types of supplements?
Well, having a magnesium that isn't magnesium carbonate or magnesium oxide or magnesium stearate So having one that absorbs very well and a calcium that absorbs very well. But vitamin D3 alongside vitamin K2 is really, really important as well. And then getting some silica into you as well. Some of that you can actually go and walk on the beach and where the ocean meets the sand.
Yeah,
and
wonderful.
free of charge.
So the good news is that it's reversible.
It is reversible. Sometimes we'll need to use natural hormones for it, but we really need to look after that acid that breaks down the bones.
Okay, so some things to avoid perhaps as well?
Junk food, acid-forming foods, and not eating red meat 3 times a day. Eating it once a day is fine. And if you eat your fruit and veggies, a lot of fruit and veggies rather than a lot of carbs, you're going to do your bones a lot of good.
Excellent tips for us. Now, if people are still not sure, or we know that different bodies have different requirements, where do you suggest they go to maybe have more of a detailed conversation?
Well, they can come and see me if they wish to at the Ultra Health Centre in Floreat and the ultrahealthcentre.com.au. They can go to the website and have a look there.
Wonderful. Well, I'm not sure. I know Fred's nodding as well. We always feel very safe when we're listening to your expert advice because you have got that pharmacy, that background, and then you've also got the naturopath. So you're really about helping people holistically rather than just taking drugs per se as well, which is important.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
That's a pleasure.
We know a lot more now, so we really appreciate that. Of course, if you've missed any of that information that Hillary's just passed on, you can go on thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page. But hey, I'm sure we'll see you back on the couch very soon.
Okay, look forward to it.
Thanks, Hillary.
Okay.
Okay, back to you now, Fred.
Thank you very much to Hillary and Tanisha, of course. Hillary, next time you come in, I'd love to talk about anxiety and some natural ways of dealing with this. I mean, a lot of people have got anxiety these days.
They have.
And I thought we might get you back next time,
Yep.
a few weeks' time. We'll get you back to talk about that and how to deal with it.
No problem.
Thank you to Hillary. Somebody else is doing a great job is Cystic Fibrosis WA. They've got a great charity event coming up, but you can donate to them all year round. Check out this promo and then we'll talk to our guest.
Every 4 days, a baby is born with cystic fibrosis in Australia. It's one of the most common, rare genetic diseases affecting Australians, with over 1 million of us carrying the cystic fibrosis gene. And right now, more than ever, the thousands of Australians living with cystic fibrosis need your support. And you can help by buying a virtual rose for someone you care about by visiting rosegarden.org.au. From our community to yours, we'd like to say thank you.
And we're back again. That is a fantastic event. 65 Roses is coming up very, very soon. To shed some light on that and give us more information, Nisha's got another guest. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Fred. It's always great to have great organisations on the show. And I've got Kaz, who is a president of the Cystic Fibrosis Western Australia branch. Welcome.
Thanks, Nisha. Lovely to be here.
Now, May is a special awareness month for cystic fibrosis. So there's a number of different campaign messages we've got. But before we jump into that, can you tell us what is cystic fibrosis? What does it look like on a day-to-day basis?
So cystic fibrosis is one of the most common genetic diseases in the world. It takes 2 people to carry the gene that causes CF, and they can then create a child that has CF. Living with CF is difficult. It is an insidious disease, and I know because I have CF myself. Day-to-day treatment is getting up early before work or school, nebulizers, physiotherapy, copious amounts of medication. And as the disease progresses, unfortunately, the lungs just get filled with sticky mucus. They block the airways, and the patient the person with CF is actually just drowning in their own mucus.
And you've had a lung transplant, haven't you, as well?
I did. That was going to only be my only chance of survival. So I actually had 12 hours to live on a respirator and got my call, thank goodness. And here I am nearly 27 years later.
And with what's in the media at the moment and has been, it's really important that mothers and fathers are quite persistent sometimes as well when their child's unwell. So your mum was one of those really persistent mothers as well?
She was. Thank goodness it definitely paid off. Yeah, Mum had me back and forth to doctors. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 4, which is pretty late. But her persistence definitely paid off.
And another point too is the difficulty breathing is, I know with the pandemic at the moment, we get a lot of people complaining, just to say that the audience may resonate with this, about wearing masks. But when you have cystic fibrosis, it's much worse than that on a daily basis, right?
It is. It's much worse. It's like, imagine breathing through a straw for 12 hours. That's what it's like.
Yeah, wow. So in terms of the Awareness Month, what are some of the events or goals that you have to create in that, I guess, in May? I know you work all throughout the year, and it is a volunteer position, by the way, guys. So like a lot of volunteers out there, you've got a full-time job, and the president role is something that you're impassioned to do.
Absolutely, yes, definitely. So our month of May is our big awareness day, as you've said, and it's all about just promoting CF to the general community, and there's ways. We've got our virtual rose garden, so people can get onto our website and donate from as little as $5 to $1,000 if you like.
Okay.
We'll be selling roses on the 31st of May in the city and various shopping centres.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So go out, buy your loved one or buy yourself a rose.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy himself a rose.
Absolutely.
And a few other people as well. But yeah, great cause. Wonderful. Okay. And I know there's also more of a campaign as well around another drug that has been shown in trials to be very effective that we're trying to get across the line here in Australia. Tell us about that.
That's right. Trikafta is a modulator that basically puts the salt back into the cells, and it showed amazing results. People are actually off transplant lists. They're able to return to work. They can breathe just as you yourself, Fred, can just normally breathe. So it's a fantastic job, and the efficacy is amazing. So we're hoping to get that across the line.
And I'm understanding from what I've read that it's a case of negotiation around cost at the moment.
Definitely. Negotiation with the drug company and PBS as well. So
what's the call to action that you want to get out there?
Hammer down the drug companies. Yeah, we need this drug.
And we obviously have people who with cystic fibrosis that are really ill, so they don't really have time to wait too. So keeping that in mind, I know they've got to negotiate, but that's really important. We don't want anyone losing their battle while we're waiting to negotiate.
That's right. Yeah, too many lives have been lost already.
For we're doing a great job, Kaz, in terms of
Nisha.
working full time as well as being the president of the association. Where can people find out more and, importantly, get actually engaged with the Awareness Month?
So they can go to our website, www.cfwa.org.au. Get on there. There's links to all of our campaigns, and find us in the city or in our local shopping centres.
Wonderful. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there too very inspired by you and your journey, and so I'm sure that you can touch base with Kaz through those contacts as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Nisha. Thanks, Fred. Thank you.
And we'll hope to have you back on one day soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate it. Now, if you've missed anything at all there in terms of the details, of course, as usual, we've got everything on thecash.com.au as well as a Facebook page. But it's back to you for now, Fred.
Thank you very much, Tanisha. To Kaz. Kaz, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Day to day, what are some of the issues that you face when you've got cystic fibrosis for those people at home to know what you're living through? I know there's a breathing issue. What other symptoms do you sort of have to put up with?
So there's pancreatic insufficiency. So we take enzymes to absorb the fats. We can eat whatever we like, but we've got to be aware of the fat issue. There's things like climbing stairs. We can't climb stairs. I used to circulate a car park to find a spot close to where I'm going because I couldn't walk.
And does that happen to children as well as adults?
Yes.
So you can imagine children's life being affected. They want to do sport, they want to run around. It would affect them. And I have seen it for many years on telethon and appeal-a-thon and all those sort of things. But it brings it home when we see people like yourself. 27 years since
in
the job.
November.
You're looking good and keep up the good job. You're
Thanks
doing
so
a wonderful
much.
job. And the fact that someone like you, Kaz, can go out there and promote to other people, hey, it's worth getting treatment, worth raising money. And I hope that medication comes online.
Me too.
The TGA, approve it. Thank you, Kaz.
Thanks,
well done.
Fred.
Thank you, Nisha.
Thanks, Nisha.
Pleasure.
We're going to take a break on the couch, folks. Coming up after the break, Amy Jacobson is here talking about emotional intelligence, but we're talking about her new book with Nisha. Stay tuned. You're watching The Couch. Busy show today. Welcome back to the couch. I hope you're enjoying the program. We've kept it pretty much intelligent today. I had to say that because we're looking at emotional intelligence. I've got this book in front of me and I thought, thanks for reminding me, Nisha. But I thought it must have been for Nisha, not for me, obviously. Nisha, you've got a very special guest, and welcome home to Amy.
Thank you so much, Fred. Gosh, you're such a laugh. I come here for my therapy.
I was actually quite serious.
I brought enough books for everyone, Fred.
No, and for the ones of us that can read. There's three of us.
Ongoing roadmap journey for all of us, I'm sure. Amy Jacobson joins us again on the couch. Now, you have been writing a lot about emotional intelligence over the years and speaking in the media, and now we're excited because you've got your first book coming out.
I do. It's just hit bookstores. I think we're on week 2 now of it being in bookstores worldwide, and yeah, it feels really good. I think it is part of that path that we're continuing to go and to really break through that misconception of what emotional intelligence is.
And that is so important because as an org psych, I know when I go out there and you mention, EI, there's 200 million different definitions and quite often not very operational things you can do. So tell us about your book and what makes it different.
Okay, so the main thing that I really wanted to get across in my book is that I've read a lot of the emotional intelligence books that are out there and they are amazing books, they really are. But you already need to be a little emotionally intelligent to understand them. They can be quite scientific and they're a great read, but at the end when you walk away, there's still that missing loop that says, how do I get from what I've learned in this book into my day-to-day? And so what I did with my book when I wrote it is I took all of the research, all of the stuff that's out there on emotional intelligence at the moment and simplified it. Made it just really simple in day-to-day language that anyone can understand, and then put actions in there as well. Those 1% of actions where people can actually walk away and instantly do something.
You're just making me smile on the inside, Amy, because I think often, everyone I think has great intentions. They want to improve their emotional intelligence, but it's that little bit hard to maintain a behaviour, isn't it, unless you've got something actually prescribed and written down and it's achievable too.
That's exactly right. And I think sometimes we go too big, right? As humans, we look at something and we think, okay, I want to be all of those things. And we head out and we're so determined with the best intentions to become all of those things, where really it's the little things, the little changes that makes the difference. And we've thrown templates in there and ideas around how to do things and what to refer to. And we've spoken a language that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what lifestyle you're coming from, it's stuff that we can actually understand. It makes sense.
Wonderful. That was my next question with regard to who should be looking at this book. It sounds like it's quite wide-reaching.
Well, when I wrote the book, funnily enough, I actually wrote it specific to workplaces. I specialise in emotional intelligence in workplaces, so I wrote it specific for those workplaces. However, when I passed it over to the Wiley editing team, they come back to me straight away and said, I've taken so much out of this for myself and my family. So there is a good chunk out of the book, which is natural, right? Because emotional intelligence is all about people. So there is a good chunk of the book that people can take information away, regardless of who you are. If you're a human being, you're going to get something out of the book. It's that easy.
Wonderful. So in terms of the stores that are stocking your book, online as well, I'm sure?
Yes, so we're online worldwide. So there's very few online stores that actually aren't stocking it. So if you can find one, let me know. And the bricks and mortar stores, we've got all of the big ones from Dymocks through to Boffins, through to Collins, Robertsons, everything like that. And it's just come out in ebook as well, and audiobook will be out in a couple of weeks.
Wonderful. So a version for everyone, especially those of you also commuting. It could be something to listen to. And EI is obviously extremely important in teams as well. So potentially, if you're reading the book, and Amy does a lot of training as well and works one-on-one with leaders, so that could probably complement the book really well.
Absolutely. So the book is, we're finding a lot of our clients at the moment, when I'm working with them, at the end of the program, they're actually buying one of the book to be able to give to their staff as that kind of that Bible that they refer back to. The modules that they've learned through the program, it's all in there, so it's something that they can constantly refer to.
Wonderful. Well, talking from the same or singing from the same song sheet as you, I think it's a great meaningful gift as well, either internally in the organisation or maybe to someone in your family too.
There's no greater gift than EI.
Yeah, beautiful. Where can people find out more about you, Amy, and what you're up to as well?
So if you head over to my website, which is findingyourwhy.com.au.
Wonderful. So if you've missed any of that, of course, you can go to thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page as well. But Amy, I'm sure you'll come back in shortly. Thank you so much and all the best for your books.
Thank you for having me. It's always nice to be here.
Pleasure. Back to you now, Fred.
Thank you, Nisha. And we've got 3 of the books to give away. So you need to be quick. If you'd like one of these books, all you need to do is SMS us 0439 929 929. Put your name and address and just put book as the words I know which you're actually entering for. And I noticed that Amy's actually put a couple of messages in here for Nisha. It says, and I don't know if this is a secret, it says, ask more questions than you make statements. Was that supposed to be a private message for Nisha? I hope not. Look, the book is wonderful. I've just been flicking through, and I reckon it goes from any age group. If you can read, get the book, because it's written in a very simple way that even I can understand it, and it makes a lot of sense. It can help you in your life, your work, your relationships, everything. Have a read. You might like it. Thank you to Amy. Thank you to Nisha. We'll take a break. Coming up after the break, they're back, the 3 of them. Ted, Jen, Chris. What do we got? Bitchin' coming up next.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram and YouTube.
Well, welcome back to The Couch, our last segment for the show. Hope you've enjoyed it today. Lots of information for you. Now, not that we're not going to provide information now, by the way. I'm not sort of anti-climaxing here. But we've got 3 wonderful legends we call Bitchin' Team. And let me introduce them. We've got Chris Ilsley from 1080 6IX and 1057 FM. I was going to sing the song for you, Chris. 1080 AM.
Mate, you can sing the song.
FM,
trust me, there is one thing I can't do is sing.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
I won't even attempt to do it. You know why? Nobody has done anything that bad. They deserve to hear me try and sing.
Jukebox Saturday night from 6 o'clock?
No, Sunday nights from 6 o'clock. It's the Chris Ilsley project.
Yes.
And occasionally I do a Jukebox Saturday night as well.
So just listen into 6IX. If you're not listening to 6PR, me, of course. But he's doing a wonderful job at 6IX. Forever Classic is our own Chris. Jen Merrigan, haveagonews.com.au.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice
What's
to be
your biggest story this month? Chris Ilsley joined 6IX?
Yes.
A little bit of a play there for you, Chris.
We've got a great edition out there. We've got we had a chat to Noni Hazelhurst this
Noni?
month.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
She's a legend,
There's a bear in there.
Yeah. She is a wonderful legend.
You know, and she has had a greater success in her career in her later years than in her earlier life. So it's been fantastic. She's got a new movie out called June Again.
Yep.
Great Australian drama and very funny with Claudia Carvin.
Beautiful actress.
It's a great story. Support local cinema.
Haveagonews.com.au is where you support local newspapers as well. Fantastic read. Ted Bull, you've been a Rotto, you've been holidaying.
Well,
you're looking
like
good.
That actually, talking about people of the older generation, that's why I'm looking so macho today.
I tell you what, the shirt open.
With the shirt open.
Don't know, does it do it for you?
Stewart haircut.
Yeah, I think so. Wind
Man,
blown.
I'm a bloke.
I watched a bit of Live and Let Die last night. You could be
the die part.
Yeah.
Let's.
You needed a button down on your shirt.
Let's go straight into it. We've got 3 stories. Shall we start with you, Ted?
Okay, fine. Now, we all know that pommies have a passion for pooches. However, I'm not going to be caught short on peas because I continue with the peas and say pommies have a passion for pandemic puppies.
Really?
And the big thing is that they are so worried about their dogs, now that they're back at work, they've actually got some... Can I read this to you?
Yeah.
Pet cameras and activity trackers are flying off the shelves in England.
Yeah.
Some cameras also, get this, also enable the person in their office to press a button and it dispenses a treat for their dog. So postmen keep
I reckon most
jumping
dogs will work out where to chew the treat.
Yeah, after they've ripped your house apart because...
I'm really glad you went...
Well, no, you can see them doing that.
Yeah, but how would you feel sitting at work? You can't leave work and you're watching the pooch slowly demolishing the house.
It's true.
That would be the treat you give them, you see.
Well, it does.
Electrocution.
No, look, this is serious. No, look,
Sorry,
you may be lighthearted and frivolous.
Thank you. Yes, that's right.
But this is serious stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Other owners are turning to subscription services that provide music, special doggy music, and a lot of dogs are having separation anxiety. Now, this is according to...
How do you know what doggy music they like? I mean, I don't know, but I suspect the Chihuahua probably has different tastes to the Great
Mate,
Dane.
they have
but
a
how do you know?
streaming service called Relax My Dog.
And for more information, go to relaxmydog.com.
And you know they've got their own streaming device too called Petflix.
Well, yes, you're right. They do. And this woman who earns her living walking other people's dogs talks about helping dogs overcome anxiety, loneliness and boredom.
Oh,
and
perfect.
I actually can add to this because many, many years ago when I was young and handsome and famous, I had...
a dog walker?
No. Better than a street walker.
Yes, I
had...
Maybe not as profitable.
Who's that famous vet dog, Dr.
Chris?
Dr. Harry.
Oh, Dr. Harry,
And
famous. You said famous, that's what
I
got
was
me.
interviewing Dr. Harry, and I said, Doc, because we were like that, I said, Doc, I'm getting another dog, so I've got 2 dogs. And he said, don't call me 2 dogs. Anyway, that's another story.
Oh, Ted, can I just say, when I heard your title of that story, I was a bit worried when you said pandemic dogs.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to refer to China because you know what they like doing with dogs over there, don't you?
No.
You obviously
but
haven't been on YouTube and look up the cats in the cat.
And I thought, is that what they're doing with their sick dogs now? But I'm glad you didn't go there.
No, that's what they
Look,
did with
the English
bats,
and their
wasn't
dogs. Anyway, Dr. Harry,
Yeah. Where
did all this
Dr.
go?
Harry
Yes, go on.
said to me, he said, why do you need 2 dogs? And I said, why do you ask me again? And I said, well, for company. And he said, if you watch your dog during the day, what do you think it does? And I said, it sleeps. And dogs, unless they're
Just
out in
like
the
cats.
front yard barking at people,
Chasing
just
the
sleep.
postman.
So really,
what a waste of time.
this is a super con
Yes.
into people who love their dogs, spending money so they can sit there all day whilst they should be doing
Hey,
proper stuff and watching
I
their
agree.
pictures.
I think, what are we going to have? You know, we've got these things that you can remotely turn on the aircon. Now we're going to do that for dogs. Whatever happened to dogs staying outside under the couch or under the table and being undercover, obviously. But
Yeah.
dogs belong outside,
Because
so do
people
cats.
have replaced dogs for
Well,
relationships.
I mean,
Great.
Can't leave the cats outside. If
Do
they do that,
you
they're going
guys
to kill
think it's
all
a
the
great
neighbourhood
idea,
birds.
Jen?
No,
No?
stupid.
Chris?
Nah.
All right, let's move on to Jenny. I know they're telling me, yes, thank you, 9 minutes.
now, talk
9
to
minutes.
Has Jen got a topic for you?
Yes.
Stinker.
You're going to get people in the so-called
Yeah.
SHIT.
Yes, I was going to say, can I say that on TV? And
You can.
Yeah. Well, this is a shitty story.
Yes, that's right.
So, apparently,
Irresponsible dumpage.
yes, at
I like the
Cottesloe,
photos from this too.
sign.
We probably can't.
This sign. This is
focus
a
on it.
cracker. It's probably a bit hard. Was
Yeah, look, tell us what's on it. It's a
erected
person
at-
doing a poo.
Yes, consequences of open defecation.
There we go.
I love that word.
How to take action. And there's 6 little boxes. And
Which
there's-
council put that out on there?
Well, apparently, no, they're saying they didn't.
Oh,
They're
so
saying
who put
they
it out
didn't.
there?
They believe it's been taken down.
Hey, you know something? There isn't a town of Cottesloe sign on there, so I think you're right.
So
Slope them up.
they think that it was an unhappy resident, possibly.
Oh, no.
And I I actually heard yesterday afternoon that this sign is put up in beaches in third world countries. Was the reference? Yes. So maybe someone.
it could be a load of
stole-
crap.
Yes.
Is Cottesloe a third world country?
Well, it could
But you
be
see,
now,
Cottesloe hasn't
because
yet
people
got-
have been crapping on the beach.
Guys, Cottesloe hasn't yet got what it's supposed to have, which is a $250,000 public toilet.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
That's probably
until
why
that's
they've
built,
done
maybe
it.
people aren't forced if they need to do
So
number 2s to go into the sand
whole
dunes.
idea of the sign is it's telling people not to poo on the sand or in the beach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
But, you know,
Well, yes, but also it's got some strange people.
Can I have a look
Yeah,
at that?
you can. It's got also don't sit on the toilet. I've seen that sign in Malaysia actually, where it says where they've got like a European
this
toilet.
one says sit on the toilet.
And then they say don't get on top of the
Correct.
toilet and squat down
in case you fall through.
Well,
No,
possibly.
it's-
and
but
sorry.
also you miss more.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and also I'll tell you. Well, I've always been pretty good with my aim, by the way.
But were you
Do you do it from afar?
Doesn't everybody? But in Greece, of course.
Encourage others.
Exactly.
I mean, really, how many people do you talk to?
Don't go and crack down on Cottesloe.
All right, let's,
Now,
can we go through?
Jen, I don't want
I
you
was just
doing
going to
that
say,
again.
While they have their own little
in Greece,
TV
you're not
program,
allowed to
Yep.
put the toilet paper in the toilet.
No,
they
because
have
the
a bin
plumbing's
beside
so-
it, which you
yes.
put. Yeah, maybe that's
And
what they
Turkey
mean.
as
How
well.
did we get onto this topic?
Because
Is that what it
Cottesloe
is?
poo sign dumped after causing a stink.
So
yeah, Turkey's the same.
this is not a real sign. They've taken it away.
They've
haven't
taken it away. Apparently, it was put up by maybe
Okay.
a disgruntled
A
resident.
disgruntled resident.
Because, you know, there's lots of, over the last few years, there have been a lot of news reports about people, you know, going on jogs and
Yes.
pooing in various places.
In behind
and-
doors and
Yeah, so
Oh,
maybe they're...
Because, you know, marathon runners, when they're running a marathon and they require the facilities, they use what they're wearing.
Lovely.
Well, and the same with cyclists as well, apparently.
Really?
Gee, I never
I
thought
hope
the
no
show
one's
would
just
ever
ordered
go
Uber
down.
Eats.
It's all
Down to
kinds
this
of
level.
It's gone to shit. Exactly. Thank you, Jen. You're actually becoming a stand-up committee sitting down. You're actually very good. Chris Ilsley, now you're talking about...
My story's so pedestrian. I mean, after the Cottesloe poo, what can I say? I mean, is there
Bring them
anything I've really
home.
got to add?
Bring them home, I say.
Well, the former Chief Deputy Medical Officer has challenged doctors to smash the false idol of COVID-19 eradication and prepare the public, that being you, me and everyone else, for the next critical phase of the pandemic. Open international borders and the return of the virus in the community. And of course, that's all based around the assumption that sufficient numbers of people are vaccinated. But I have to say the man has a point.
I agree.
We would often hear Mark McGowan talk about eradication. This is a virus, folks.
You're
it
never
ain't
gonna
going to
get
be
rid of it.
eradicated.
No.
We are going to have to live with it and its subsequent
So,
mutations.
Let's get this one. Do we agree on the panel here that the virus is here forever? Chris?
Yes, absolutely.
Jen?
Yeah.
Ted?
Sure.
And I agree as well.
Yeah.
But we seem to be living society as if we are trying to get rid of it. We're never going to get rid of it.
Unless we
Doctors have
stay
said that.
completely shut off and don't
And
let
why do we
anybody
need to?
internationally come into the country.
Well, because we need to wait for everyone to be vaccinated.
But
the whole world.
But you guys have heard that even with the vaccination,
You can still,
You can still get it,
transmit it,
but
and
you
you
can
can
also
still
get it.
get it. But you're not
So-
probably not going to die.
Which is good.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Chris, was there anything else to that story? I mean, look, I think it is time that we. I actually.
Well, one of
said
the
we
problems
should-
they've got, of course, is that there's so much anti-vax material out there
Correct.
that they're worried that not enough people are going to get vaccinated.
Well, I think that one of the things about what this doctor has said is we need to open our borders. We need to get
International
back to
borders,
international
yeah.
borders. But do you not think we need to open up quarantine centres? They need to be there permanently.
Yes.
And then when they're not needed for quarantining, you use.
But
it for
where are the
homeless people.
quarantine centres? I'll give you an example. Here in WA, the obvious one is Yonga Hill at Northam.
Correct.
And I'm telling you right now, if they said people had to quarantine at Yonga Hill in Northam, there's already complaints about it being remote.
Yep.
Now, for those not familiar, Northam is 95 kilometres from
But
Perth.
you had a group
And they
just-
talk about it being remote.
Yeah, we had a group last week called Q City. They build the dongers for the mining sites.
Yeah.
And they actually approached the government, the federal government, said, we can do this within 12 months. We can build you up to 2,000 rooms, an hour out of Mandurah. They've actually picked an area which was perfect. For some reason, our government seems to think that they don't want to spend the money, so they're dancing around it with this hotel quarantine. Hotels were never
But
created
don't
to be
forget,
prisons.
No.
the states wanted to run the quarantine and the Fed said, OK, you can.
Correct.
People are right. Quarantine is a federal responsibility. With COVID, the states, without exception, said we want to manage it ourselves, and the Fed said you can.
Yes.
Now it's all going pear-shaped. The states are saying, well, what are the Feds doing about
Correct.
it? But the moment the
Blaming.
Feds step in, the states are going to say, oh, we can run this ourselves, and
Correct.
the Feds are interfering.
I think we need to move to a society where we accept the virus is there, we protect ourselves from getting it or getting sick, we vaccinate everybody, but we get back to normal. I still think travelling overseas, there's no way I'm going to travel to America, Europe or India. I mean, you have to be pretty smart.
Do you think it should be compulsory, the vaccination, if you're going to
No.
travel?
I think it should be to save, it should be an
We
option.
can't make it compulsory.
Well, if you
'cause
make
there's
it
some
compulsory, the first thing that'll happen is there'll be a court challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I reckon
yeah.
the court challenge will
Your
succeed, and
problem
then
will
forever
be
the precedent
the airlines
is there.
will
Yeah.
not want any people on there unless they're vaccinated, and they've got a right to do that.
Yeah.
So I think
it's like going to school without having vaccination.
just before we wrap up the show,
Yeah.
because I don't get in the wind up, the people, the
You are.
Australians in
I was just
India,
checking.
thank you, the people in India, yes or no answer, Do you believe we should be sending 2 planes, one for infected people, one for non-infected people? That was an outcome that came out yesterday.
Yep.
What do you think, Ted?
I think they're Australians, whatever.
Bring them home. Jen?
Put yourself in their place.
Oh, absolutely.
As
I
an
wanna come.
Australian.
Yeah, as an Australian, I definitely
should have a right to come
Yeah,
home.
you've got to and go to Howard Springs, which is the most successful quarantine
I think,
centre.
yes, they should come home, but I wonder how many members of the public would agree with that.
Yeah, there seems to be.
I absolutely think they
Look,
should
I
come
find
home.
on 6PR it's become a racial issue, and people are forgetting that these people are Australians. It doesn't matter where they're from.
I think
Mind you, I do
people
question why people would go to a place where there is a mass infection
I think
in the
people
first
are just
place.
convinced.
let's be
I just
honest.
think people don't want COVID in the community.
I get it,
And
but-
I think that it's not so much a racial thing. I think it's more
I wonder if they're
about
from-
people are saying, oh, well,
Okay.
if you're going to
Yeah.
shut the borders,
Well, on that
fine.
note, thank you to Ted Bull.
Look, it's
Thanks,
pleasure.
Ted.
Just before
Thank
I
you.
go, the word donga always reminds me of Barry Humphries.
Oh, thank you very much.
You know, as dry as a dead dingo's donga.
There you go. Thank you, Ted, for ending the show on a high.
I was going to say,
Jen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
HaveAGoNews.com.au. Chris Ilsley, 6IX.
Forever Classic 6IX. Yes, thank you very much, Fred. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks, we'll have them all back again. That is it from us today. Thank you for your company.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed the program. Stay safe, stay happy. Most of all, keep smiling. Bye for now.